TBTL.
Hello there and welcome to another edition of Hey Dummies. This is the newsletter video where we, the dummies, answer your questions. Hi, it's your old pal Luke. How are you out there? Hope you're doing all right, depending on where in the country you might be. It's been a pretty rough week. We're doing okay up here at the Madrona Hill studio, obviously, just dealing with, the rain, which is pretty typical and not dangerous compared to some things. Speaking of dangerous, how's that for a dangerous wild animal? Bubbles may not live here currently, but she's well remembered from this coffee cup that Becca's brother and sister-in-law gave me. So this is a real bring your daughter to work kind of vibes here at the studio. Anyway, I have a question from one of the listeners, for me, a dummy, and it's from a listener, Russell, who is wondering, have I been to or would I want to go to the Mount St. Helens Visitor Center? What are my thoughts on visiting the site today? Russell adds, I was a young adult in Southeast Washington when Mount St. Helens erupted, May 18th, 1980. It's hard to believe that next year marks 45 years since that day. I still have baby food jars of ash in my garage that I collected from that eruption. I have been to the Visitor Center, Russell, on the 40th anniversary of the eruption, and that was during the pandemic. And it was a very weird time to go there because, we had all of the sort of social distancing and masking and all the other kinds of rules. So the Visitor Center wasn't actually open. They let us into the Visitor Center to film. And it was incredible. I had never actually been there before. I would highly recommend it to people. I was very young when we got to Seattle. I think I was like 4 or 5, because I remember us being in Seattle when the news of Mount St. Helens erupting spread. And I remember looking at the cover of the Seattle Times with this photo of this mountain, and I didn't have a sense of geography then or now, because I still don't know where anything is relative to anything else. But I remember being a little kid and seeing this erupting mountain on the cover of the Seattle Times and thinking, well, I've had a good run. I was definitely sure this was probably a block away and that we were all going to, perish from this. So I have a pretty strong memory of it myself from back then. If you are passing through southern Washington, I would recommend that you make a trip over to Mount St. Helens, over to the Visitor Center. It's very cool. There's also apparently a hike that you can do. I've long threatened to do this, but I haven't done it yet. But supposedly you start, I think, like really, really late at night, like the middle of the night, and you hike up the volcano, or is it a caldera? You hike up whatever's left there, and you get to the top by sunrise. Now, I'd also heard that maybe they had stopped letting people up there during certain times of the year. They had some unfortunate accidents that happened. I don't know if that's year-round now or not, but if that ever comes back, I definitely want to try that as well. So yes, Russell, I can confirm that the Mount St. Helens Visitor Center is a pretty cool place, and I can also confirm that, fortunately, I was not taken away by the eruption some 44 years ago, because I sit here today as a humble podcaster thanking you all for being part of TBTL. Hey, send us your questions. We can always use more. Send them to Andrew at tbtl.net. Put Hey Dummies in the subject line, and we will do our very best to answer them. In the meantime, thanks for subscribing to the newsletter. Thanks for being part of TBTL. We'll see you next week.